Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again here on In Your Fields with the Unc. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in South Africa, Gauteng, Johannesburg, in Ayrton. And thank you so much once more for joining us. We've got an interesting topic this morning. For the last 4 weeks, we've been dealing with worship, but now we've moved over to sport. And I've got my co-host with me here. Jay, what's up, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning to the folks. What up to the youngins and bless up to the world.
Bless up to the world.
It's a beautiful Friday, like the young said. And yes, this is an interesting and important, very important topic, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Looking forward to it.
Cool, Jay. I just want to tell you, please don't forget to subscribe. Press that subscribe button, and also with the link, send it to friends and families. Let us engage in the topic. I've got two wonderful guests with me this morning, and they're gonna discuss not maybe in detail, because this subject we can discuss for weeks and months on end. I've got a good friend of mine here, all the way from Pretoria, from Tshwane. It is Joseph Slater. Give it up for Joe.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody.
How you doing, Joe?
Good, man. Good
I was the traveling from Tshwane to here, man.
You know, I had to get up at 3:30, and travel through 7 toll gates. I couldn't even get coffee.
Yeah.
But thank you, I got coffee here.
No, beautiful. That mic is a little low, right? So you have to push it up on the aux as well, and so forth, so that we can just get a good volume on it. So traffic was good. I must just say, you came all the way from Tshwane.
Yeah.
Somebody just came from around the corner.
I'm telling you.
And you were earlier than you were. We've got Mr. Clint Perreira with us here this morning. Give it up for Clint.
How's it, guys? Good to be here. Thanks, Pastor Les, for inviting me. Great show, and obviously going to have a great conversation this morning.
Yes. I've got two brilliant minds. I promise you, two good minds in terms of a race. In fact, sport in general. Their capacity that they have is just tremendous, and you're going to hear some great insights from them. So we're speaking this morning on racism within the South African context in sport, right? You know that we are a country that comes from apartheid, and we've moved over to being free, and we just had our, I don't know, from 1994, how many elections did we have now by now? Quite a few, right? But we are democratic country, and we're doing well. We're moving forward. As long as we're not going backward, we're moving forward. And I believe that these type of discussions need to happen so that we can engage with one another and get different views. And look, on the show, we don't know it all. We just express our views, and people decide for you. It's just to let you know. It's an awareness that we're building. And I know that we're going to have a good topic here this morning, right? So I just want to lay a foundation, right, guys? I just want to lay a foundation. Seeing that with all that's going on in the country, we just finished local elections now on Monday, was it? Yeah, just finished that, local elections. The results are out there and so forth. I think, I don't know about you, but I'm very excited for the political landscape at the moment. It's interesting, don't you think?
I'm telling you, you don't even know who's going to have going coalition with who. And Herman already said that there's no way he's going to the ANC. This one said there's no way I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah.
And some say there's talks between the DA and the ANC, which I don't think will happen.
Oh my word. I tell you, for me, to be honest, it's exciting times on the political landscape.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, when you look at our current political landscape, I think it's the first time since 94 that there is a loud voice from the people.
Yeah, true.
I think the people are, we are upset of what has been happening over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
In fact, the last 10 plus years. And now we have really made a mark in terms of saying, guys, or politicians, if you don't come right, if you don't serve us as the people,
yes,
then we're going to change. We're going to change our vote. We're not going to be loyal to you anymore because you're not loyal to us. And I think that's the exciting part of our current political landscape.
Yeah, man, it's exciting times. Just to lay a foundation, I've been reading a book, and that book is not a one, those books that you can't read it off, you can't read it once through, you know what I'm saying? You take sections of the book because there's such a lot of information. So there's a book by Michael Eric Dyson. It's called Tears That We Cannot Stop, right? But it's a sermon to white America. So when you read through it and so forth, and one of the things that captured me, just to start off this whole conversation, one of the things that captured me in that book was he mentions that with the whole George Floyd thing that happened, right? The whole George Floyd debacle. There was a lady standing with a placard up and said, this is not what's the word she used, man? She said this is not I forgot. But what she's basically saying, this is not a wake up call to us. She says the wake up call, the alarm went off in 1619 already. We just press snooze all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because racial discrimination has been coming on for so long. If we just look at our own country, racial discrimination has been coming on even before apartheid was institutionalized or constitutionalized. You know what I'm saying? That has been coming on. So we're going to discuss basically the history of racial discrimination within the confines of sport in South Africa, and then we take it from there. All right. So I don't know. That's just the basis we want to lay here. Another one I just want to lay as a foundation is I didn't know for myself. There was a guy, a soccer player that played for Leeds. Johannesson was his surname. He played for Leeds. He's the first African that ever played in an FA Cup final. The first African. And he was born in Germiston, a brown guy. He left football in 1972. He resigned from football, and that was his career. But he never ever played for South Africa at that point in time. So that's just the basis we want to come from. History. What's your take on history when it comes to racial discrimination in sport in general?
In sport in general?
Yeah.
I think it all starts first in what your country is set up from.
Yes.
Our sport has fallen back for me way before 94 already.
Right.
When you had the Saru rugby and you had the Safane, what were they called? But the Rugby Federation.
Oh, okay, yes.
You had them also. Even at that time, when this federation would see that this brown person plays well, if you look at Errol Tobias and those guys,
yes,
they will poach them. They were guys when there were once a rugby match where the Saru and this federation played together.
Yes.
That Saru team almost won, but they weren't allowed to win because of this is more a white team.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these guys, you look at Randy Marinas, them and those guys, they were beautiful rugby players, but they never could see that they will ever get an opportunity to play for South Africa.
Yes.
Because at that time. And from that time, I think we as brown people has also pressed the snooze button to say that, hey, while I can play rugby, that is fine. Now, these days, the same thing happens. The rich schools will take your lighty from these government schools and stuff, and then they just disappear.
Yeah.
You don't get that lighty staying in your neighborhood anymore because he has moved on. He's now by Grey and is now in Peter Maritzburg and all these big schools. The opportunities is going, and our children don't get to really mix with these type of stars because they are another level now.
I found this interesting, speaking from that premises, Joe. I found this interesting that back in the day, right, you'll have the South African. Now you must know, when I say South African in the day, I'm speaking about white South Africa. So white South Africa would have the Rugby Federation, and they will have the Football Federation, they will have the Cricket Federation. But although it was constitutionalized that only whites will represent South Africa. Yet, the federations were not, it wasn't white Transvaal Rugby Union. It was just Transvaal Rugby Union or South African Rugby Union. You know what I'm saying? What I found interesting is that now people of color, you will have now, although we were open for anyone to come in, it will be the Indian Natal Swimming Association or the Colored Hockey Federation of the Western Cape. You know what I'm saying? We went into our own box, yet it wasn't constitutionalized for anyone to. We could have anyone coming in, but we were so, because we Indian, because we black, because we colored, that put us already in our own box.
That's true, but we were taught that way.
Exactly.
Indirectly, we were so hypnotized and manipulated in that. You know, the apartheid government, what made the apartheid government strong was eendrag maak mag.
Yes.
And then you had divide and conquer.
Yes.
So we as people of color has never ever been introduced into we can be a collective and overcome this government.
Yes.
Because it was mostly pressure from the outer world, from the Europeans that forced the
with
apartheid
sanctions
government.
and yes.
At least.
Yes.
But we never could see that, hey, I'm going to cross this border to this black area and just go there, or they will do the same. At
Yes.
the end of the day, we are still fighting each other in sport, in whatever.
My
We are
word.
still against
But
others.
I mean, back in the day, right? Even though apartheid was only formalized when the Nationalist Party came into power in South Africa, I think it was about 1948, if I'm not mistaken. But before then, you still had the discrimination, which means exactly from a societal perspective, we had to put ourselves in our own box because we were already excluded.
Yes.
We were already seen that we were not part of the group, meaning
Yeah.
we were not white.
Yeah.
Right? So we were already, so for example, take Bishops, for example. I mean, in Bishops, we know. You know, when the Bishops rugby team, when they were chosen, they didn't choose black. Why did? And that was before 1948. That was before apartheid was formalized.
Yeah.
But it was all around saying that white is supreme and everything else isn't.
Yes.
And that is the problem with the society. If you bring it in today, right? I always say racism. You're not born racist. You're not born racist.
Yeah.
You are taught to be racist.
Right.
Take your kids. I look at my daughter. She's 3 years old. My daughter's best friend is Phoebe.
Right.
Right? Phoebe is a white girl.
Right.
She loves Phoebe. Another friend, other friend is Milan. White girl. She loves it. She does not know the difference between black and white.
Right.
All she sees is a person. You know, again, another friend of ours is Ovile. Loves, they play well together. She doesn't know the difference. However, it's up to us, or rather in households, they are taught that, hey, hang on, you can't chill with these oaks because they're not like you. And that is what happened back then in terms of history. History has taught us, and unfortunately we're growing up with this history, but history has taught us that we need to have prejudice. History has taught us that in society, you can't mingle with these people because they are not like you. And guess what? Then we religionize it.
Right.
You know, and we bring it to the Bible and say that, you know, you cannot be unequally yoked. But the context is different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then and it's exactly what, I mean, you have this white supremacist group in the US. What is the form of, what is their standpoint as the white supremacist group? It's all about religion. You know? And that is what we've done from a societal perspective, is that we have ingrained our own prejudice.
Yeah.
And we've told ourselves we're not good enough. So let's start our own federations.
Yeah.
Let's start our own cricket union. Let's start our own rugby union. Let's start our own soccer union so that at least we can form part of something.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that same mindset is continuing even today.
How do you move forward with your child that's playing with white friends and black friends and so forth, right? How do we move forward? Do we leave history and not teach them history? Or do we engage them in history and teach them history so that they can move forward? How do we do this?
But how do they get to know about history? Isn't it how the parents treat each other when they speak or outside or they at the braai or whatever?
Yes.
When you find that it's only colored people at the braai.
Yes.
Then it's more freedom. When you get to whites, I was once at a braai in Pretoria, Pastor, and this guy, we were driving towards where we must go to.
Yeah.
He didn't mention, look at this taxi driver.
Yeah.
Driving in front of me.
Right.
He says, look at this guy
Yes,
driving
yes,
in front of me.
yes.
And then I told him, hey, why would you say that?
Yeah.
I was just on the wrong side of the car. Did you see I'm looking this way? I looked at him this way.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? I said, for me, they're all the same. Not knowing
Yeah. Wow.
that, listen, I'm not at that part.
Yes.
And then I had to tell him, no, man, but me and you can't be friends. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this was a working colleague.
Yes.
Me and you can't be friends.
Yes.
Please,
Yeah.
I can't go to your braai anymore because his braai was at his brother's place or something. I can't go to your braai because I know your conversations at
Exactly.
when nobody's around.
Exactly.
And how is it going to be when everybody had some extra orange juice and cream soda and then suddenly
Yes.
we're going to go there, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to excuse myself from that braai. Come back to the point. How are we going to speak about each other? That is going to teach our children how we treat, how
Wow.
they should treat each other.
Wow.
It's the same like how husband and wife treat each other in front of the child.
Yes.
That child is going to take that as an example, not just what you say.
Yes.
You need to act the respect that you want your child to have to others that's older than them. That's what I feel.
100%.
I just want to hop in there, Unc.
Yeah.
I think the funny thing is that sometimes racism happens subtly, and children grow up figuring things out and starting to ask questions.
Yeah.
For an example, you will basically say you can't go sleep at a black child's house, but let your child go and sleep at a white family's house.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily teaching them what is racism or not, but I think those are also the situations that we're gonna have to try and navigate and deal with.
Yeah, I mean, look, spot on, right? And I think for me, right, we all need to be honest, there's prejudice in everyone. Racism is a form of prejudice.
Yeah.
Right? We all have prejudice in us, and we need to realize, cool, what form of prejudice do I have? Do I have prejudice in terms of, based on your skin color, based on your race, based on where you come from? Because even guys, as colored guys, we have prejudice as well. If you're not, back in the day, I remember the stories my dad used to tell me that if you weren't from Bosmont, you were seen as the, bottom of the food chain in terms of being a colored, right? So there was even that form of prejudice. And yes, it could even be, you can't say racism in the sense of racism, but it's prejudice against your own people. The same today in South Africa between Zulu, Sotho, Tswana. There's prejudice against themselves. Jacob Zuma used to put in, there was a T-shirt where he said 100% Zulu. In the factions of the ANC, you have the Zulu factions as well. So you have all of these forms of prejudice that contributes to racism. It contributes to the messed up society we have today, right? And I think that is, from a moving forward perspective, it's you need to be aware of the prejudice that you have, and then you need to make sure you deal with it yourself. You don't have to air your dirty laundry, but deal with it so that when you teach your kids the right thing, not what you have or what you're struggling with, and because you're struggling with it, no, my children must also go through it, and my kids must also struggle with it. So identify the prejudice, make sure that you're dealing with it. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but make sure you're dealing with it, and make sure you teach your kids the right way and the right thing.
So let's look at South Africa. Let's look at the demographics of South Africa, right? Moving over to the next point. We look at the demographics of South Africa. We are majority Black African, right? Then you have what they say, the colored group or brown people, right? And then you have whites, according population stats. Then you have Indians. Okay, we are still divided like that, right? Whether you like it or not. But that's how we divided. So according demographics, and when we look at national teams, should this demographics come through? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's about high time that it does come through.
Okay.
And
why do you say so?
Because it is still, for me, there is still the one group
Yeah.
that gets more exposure than the other group.
Right.
It is still the one will get better or easier sponsorship than the other one.
Yes.
It is still the one school will get better equipment than the other one. If your base, if your groundworks in a sport, in your school, is not the same like you get in the higher level,
Hey, Joe.
you're not going to get the same results when you're in matric or when you
100%.
need to go for trials to play for Northerns or Lions or whatever.
Yes.
You're not going to get the same result.
Yeah.
So I still, if there's a way to push these schools to also uplift other schools in the area that is poorer,
Yes.
to push the government to also really put in extra with the government schools to uplift these talents.
Yes.
I'm telling you, then we can go and talk further to say that, okay, now we choose the best.
Yeah.
For me, it is a pity. If you're the same level than what a white child is and you black or colored, you get preference because of
Yes.
our system of what you can call it, quota, whatever. But it shouldn't be. And we all want to live in South Africa. We say we pick the best person.
Yes.
But at the moment, as we are still here in 2021,
I hear you.
that's not possible.
It's
I have a differing view.
okay. Let's go. I like it.
I have a differing view.
Okay.
And I'd like to express my differing view by asking a question. Do you think Bafana is transformed?
It doesn't even go. You get white schools that... Wait. You asked a question.
Yeah.
You get white schools that basically said, we won't play soccer as a sport. So how do you, as Bafana, support a system that doesn't even want to practice that sport in their schools?
Yeah.
No, but do you think it's transformed?
For me, if I look at demographics at the moment, if you take the current Bafana squad, I would say demographically it looks right for me. That's my view.
Yeah, but do you think it's transformed? Again, it's not answering the question. We speaking, and maybe I'll answer my own question. No, I don't think it's transformed.
Okay. Why would you say
When
so?
we look at sporting codes and when we look at quotas, the quotas is specific in terms of transformation.
Yes.
What does a transformation mean? The transformation it means in terms of sporting codes to correct the ills of the past.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now correcting the ills of the past. Now, if I look at rugby, before I get to Bafana, so
Yeah.
if I look at rugby, I think we're getting there. We're not there yet. I know that at the moment we're at stats about we only have 38% of blacks represented in
I want
you
to
know-
stop you there, right? Because we're making comparisons here, right?
No.
So
hold
wait.
on. I just wanna-
I want to
okay.
say, you say rugby, we're getting there. And you say Bafana, we're not transformed. If you look at demographics, which one represents better?
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying is, let me get to Bafana, right?
Okay.
Demographically, on paper or on the screen, we look transformed great.
Yes.
We meet the quotas, and that's what, Fikile Mbolele said when he was a sports minister as well. Great thumbs up for Bafana. I think probably one of the worst sporting codes we currently have in our country at the moment. But
Right.
great, demographics we are. Transformation we're not. Doesn't represent, again, South Africa is called the rainbow nation. There's no rainbow in Bafana. Do we see rainbow in Bafana? We don't, right?
Joe-
And that's where I'm struggling with in terms of, yes, demographically, in terms of, where we are, yeah, great. But there's no rainbow nation. Why? Because as you said, at the moment, if there's a white kid that has a little bit more talent than a black kid in soccer, in football, who they're going to choose? They're going to choose the black kid, right?
No, but I said equal. Words is very important
Okay,
here.
you
I
mean
said
equal.
if they got the
Okay.
same, because of
Now,
what
I'm saying
happened in the
if
past,
white
they're
kid
going to
is-
choose that.
is more talented than the black kid is going to get chosen.
Yeah, but
not the white kid.
Let's look at it
You know.
this way.
So that's why
We are not yet,
not
and
based
that's
on
very
merit.
important. We are not yet, I believe, at the point where we can base it on merit.
On merit.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
That's what I'm also saying. We are not at that point at the moment where we can say, let's base it on merit. We first have to sort out demographics. We first have to sort out the schools. You know what I'm saying? That Joe was talking about. We first have to sort out provincial, club level. We first have to sort those things out before we can get to merit. Because they're not, I hear 100% what you're saying in terms of Bafana. Let's just take football in general in the country. We need to get it right at club level first. We need to get it right in the SAB League, the ABC Mutsepe League, the Glad African League, PSL. You know what I'm saying? The Premier League. And then we go to Bafana or the national team. You know what I'm saying? Just to do it from the top, for me, it's not sustainable. Because
Correct.
you change the coach, you've got something else now.
No, but again,
Yeah.
I'm happy, and this is where I'm going to as well. Right?
Yes.
Is correct. For me, transformation is not the national team. It can't start there.
It can't.
You can't
It can't.
start from the top
Yeah.
down, because
Yes.
that's
Yes.
how we implementing it today.
Right.
Right. Because again, for me, by doing something like that and enforcing that, that's for me, guys. That's another form of racism.
Right.
Now let's get to the coach, the Bafana coach. Who is the current Bafana coach at the moment? Bruce. There is a very talented colored lady that we know. His name is Benedict McCarthy.
Yeah.
That was the front runner of that job.
Yeah.
And again, this
Please
could be controversial.
also mention the most highly qualified in South Africa also when it comes to coaching.
Correct,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
He wasn't chosen. Why? I believe because of the color of his skin.
Okay.
Because he also doesn't shut his mouth.
Because he doesn't keep quiet. And well, that's generally colored people, right? I mean,
Are we going to say? Are
You
we
know?
going to say the same about Pizzo? Doing exceptionally well, won a
Correct.
Champions League, two
Correct.
now. You know what I'm saying? African Champions League. Is he not chosen because of the color of his skin?
well, yeah. Yeah, correct, 100%.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to establish that.
So again, when
Yeah.
we speak about discrimination and racial discrimination, as I've said, black is not black in South Africa. Colored can be classified as black, but guess what? As you've said, if you go into those forms, you still
Yeah.
have black African, you've got colored, you've
Yes.
got Indian,
Yes.
you know, as
Chinese.
you've got Chinese, and yet colored is regarded black, but we're not black enough, right? And that for me is another form of discrimination.
Right.
You know, so our codes that we implement is a form of racism because it's not the same. We are not treating everybody the same. Black is not black. You know, you've got black African, then you've got colored, then you've got, I mean, even in black African was Zulu, Sotho, Tswana.
Yeah.
You know, and that is what I have a very, very, how do I put it? That's what makes me upset. That's what makes me upset is that a guy like Benedict McCarthy can't even get a chance to coach our national team, and he's proven his worth, man. Come on, he's proven his worth with Amazulu.
Look, there's not,
you know?
there's not, you don't have to prove a lot to get, because we've been doing bad anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, Bafana has really been doing bad anyway. So there's not a lot to prove, you know what I'm saying, to take that job. But look, this topic is getting really hot. I like where it's going to, but first we're going to have to take a break, Jay, and introduce the game that we have for today. Yeah?
You probably got to go for it, Unc.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
you probably
cool.
gotta go for that.
we call it charades. Is it charades?
Charade
Yeah,
on my
charade on my parade. So what we're gonna have to do is there's teams here, right? There's
Okay.
teams. So we the Transvaal Colored Association team, myself and Joe.
I guess we're the,
You the
Transvaal
Indian
Association.
Yeah. So what we're gonna have to do is, I'm gonna have to explain to Joe what I see on here.
Okay.
And he's going to have to guess what I'm saying. I can't talk, obviously, right? I can't speak. I have to explain to him in actions what is happening, what I see on my card here. And you're gonna have to try and guess that. Okay. So can we go with the Transvaal Indian Association over here?
Look, I'm confused. What is this here in front of me?
Okay,
That
so
we don't
if
know.
you don't get it right,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to take a
You
drink.
have to take a shot there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
You
take a
guys
shot.
have 15 seconds.
15
You've
seconds.
got 15 seconds.
Okay, so
here.
what do I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll watch a producer.
Yo, Unc, is there sports stuff to do with sport?
It's to do. The theme is football.
Football.
Yeah, football.
Okay, cool.
The theme is football, right? So you go first.
Okay, let's try this.
Throw in.
Beautiful, beautiful. Good, good, good. Let me go, Joe.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
Coaching.
100%. Good one. Good one.
Too much
good one.
pressure.
Good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
go.
go now.
It's too much pressure, guys.
Put the card down.
Offside. Oh, formation. Yeah, 4-4-2. Formation.
It's done.
Strikers.
It's done. Drink, please. Both of you. Take your shots. Take your shots.
What is the answer?
Come,
there?
Jay.
Forward.
Forward.
Forward. Yeah, but that is difficult.
Yeah,
it's
It was-
I had
it
to
was
try
difficult.
something.
It was difficult.
Yeah,
Or
it
you
was
could have just said CR7 or something.
You would have said Ronaldo. Oh, you have to make like this. Give me a high five. You know, that's- nah, I'm just saying, Joe.
Facts.
Okay, Joe. Substitute. Bench.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it on Joe. I got it.
Right. Go for it.
Dribbling.
There we go.
Hey man. Yay. Right, Jay? Oh,
You.
it's me. Nah, there's something wrong here. Oh, sorry. I took a wrong one here. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Second half.
Hey man.
Yeah, they.
Top stuff, Joe.
Header. There we go.
Okay. Do we have still? I'm done here with mine.
Yeah, we done.
I've got one
Yeah,
left.
come
Oh, you got one
One
left.
left.
Ball. Yeah, Joe.
What?
Ball.
Time out.
Yes!
That's a draw.
Ball
Ball
to
to
hand.
end. How did swim, man? Handball.
Is nie handball nie.
Was ball to
Ball
end.
to end.
Drink,
Oei,
man.
ja.
Moenie nog baie praat nie. Drink.
Ish.
Tell them.
Excellent.
This was Lever's essence.
You took the wrong one.
Well, I suppose that's a draw.
Yeah, that's a draw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a draw.
Well done, guys.
That's a
Oh,
draw.
well done.
Well done, well done, guys.
Well done. We're moving on with this hot conversation. We're moving over to the next point. Where are we now within the sporting codes? Where are we now? Discussing the different sporting codes. Can I throw a contentious one in here?
Yeah.
We now here with CSA, Cricket South Africa, with the whole debacle about Quinton de Kock. You know what I'm saying? What's your feel of that whole situation? What do you feel? Where are we now? Have we stepped back? Are we moving forward? Are we stagnating? What's happening?
I think with Quinton de Kock, if you just look at that scenario, let's
Yes.
look at the Protea scenario in
Okay,
general.
okay.
For me, it is that we actually moved a bit forward now.
Okay.
Because now at least, if someone doesn't want to conform, we can give that someone, give me your reason why.
Right.
And we can listen to that beautiful apology and everything.
Yes.
We can go into the backgrounds. But what
Right.
I'm saying is that we have moved forward in a way that you got a voice.
Okay.
You can say something.
Okay.
You can decide to go, oh, but Black Lives Matter is this and that, whatever.
Yes.
But this is the purpose of why we are kneeling.
Okay.
I think we are moving forward
Okay.
because it was much more that actually decided that, okay, no, we're going to conform. Then the one Quinton de Kock that decided that, no, but it was enforced on me and I don't want
Okay.
to do it that way.
Was he coming from a whiteness perspective, or do you think it was genuine?
I think for me, it was genuine
Okay.
because like I say, for me, it is that if you tell me, hey, are you a Christian? I say yes, but you don't walk with the Bible. It doesn't come from there. So I don't have to walk with the Bible to say that I'm a Christian. You know, I come from that. For his point of view is, I don't want to be forced to do it by saying that we must. That's a directive. We should in ourselves feel like, okay, we actually want to do it, which he says he didn't have a problem with.
Okay.
I'll share with you.
Yeah.
I have a very small idea of where Quinny was coming from, right? I'll share with you an experience. So, at the moment, I work for an organization, and this organization we have a policy in terms of coming back to the office. So we implemented a hybrid policy, but the policy says you must be in the office 2 to 3 days a week. Now, the must be in the office for me was my contentious issue.
Okay.
And then also it says if you have caring responsibilities, you need to sort it out. You must be in the office, you must be in the office. Now, I had an issue with that because before the policy, I did it.
Okay.
Out of my own free will. I went in, engaged with my staff, So I was still working the hybrid. But now when your policy is implemented, now you're saying, I must do it. Yep, but I've been doing it. Yes, not 100% prescribed to what you say it must be done, but I've been doing it. And yes, I know I'm probably one of a very few people that's been doing it, but I have been doing it. And I think Connie is exactly the same thing. His life represents transformation. His siblings, or step siblings, are colored. His stepmom is black. He grew up in that. He grew up amongst black and colored people all his life.
Okay.
I mean,
can I ask a question there? Did we know his history before this debacle?
I did.
I mean, if you go search just on Google or whatever, very little said about his dad. You don't know if his dad is white or another color. You don't know if his mom, very, very little said about his mom. Nobody knows whether she's black, whether she's white. You don't know anything about his mom. I'm asking. I'm just throwing it in there. Was that identity purposely being withheld because he grew up as a privileged white to get to a privileged white school and have privileged education as white? And now because this whole thing has exploded and he had to defend himself in terms of, I'm not racist. Now it comes out all of a sudden.
He uses that card.
He uses that card. So I'm just saying, that can be another perspective, because you don't know anything about. You could see this guy looks mixed, but we're not sure here. Yet again, he says I come from a mixed race in terms of my family is mixed race, but he never once said he's mixed race. He's white. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, the perspective of playing all along the card that you must know, it's not a new phenomena. In the past, if you wanted to get somewhere in sport, overseas or whatever, even in South Africa, there's countless examples of that. There were coloreds playing the white card, so they were playwrights.
The pencil test.
The pencil test. So they were playwrights, but they got into the team. There was one guy, I forgot his name, played rugby. And when they found out that this guy he's not white, immediately he was excommunicated. You know what I'm saying? Not like
Amen.
No, not like the excommunication of John Wick. I'm just saying, he was put out. You know what I'm saying?
But Damien the Allende also had to make that choice, and he chose to be white because his father is Greek or something.
Okay.
There's also some mix there, and he chose that.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to look at it from both perspectives.
But can I ask a question?
Okay, sure.
Does Google mention his father only on a personal level? Does he not mention the black mother? It's equal. You got the right to privacy.
Yeah.
And if you get to that status, you don't actually want your family to be exploited to the rest of the world like that. because he personally goes through a lot of criticism. So he's got his right to keep that private. We don't know of every star's family.
Yeah.
The thing is, on Google, he exposes his white in-laws a lot. On social media, on photos, on whatever, but never his family.
But maybe it's their choice.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A person,
Fishy.
you can't just go. I understand what this guy is doing. You know, especially coming from the history that we come from, and generally in sport, racism in sport. You had to fit yourself in to make yourself part of the clan. I want to fit in here with the whites, so that I can get opportunity. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think that's important. It's the same now with what Clint is saying. Where we are now in sport, I can tell you from personal experience, in football, you have to play to be in the crowd of the blacks to be seen in football. You have to you have to almost suck up to them, so that you can get an opportunity. And that's what it is at the moment. The coaches on grassroots level, that's what you have to do. I can tell you now, if Bruce didn't come in as coach, I doubt that brown guys that are in that squad right now, I doubt they would have been there.
Correct.
I agree.
But is it wrong, Pastor Les?
For
Is it wrong that you have to, what you have to do to get to the place you want to be in? It's not unethical. It's not unethical to go and
principle
play with the
it's
black
unethical.
guys so that you can be noticed, or play with the white guys so that you can be noticed. Let's be honest.
Is
right?
it supposed to
Quinny-
be like that?
No, but I'll answer the question.
Okay.
now. So Quinny went to Cares.
Yes.
Cares is a white school
Yes.
for rich people.
Yes.
Do you think, whether you're white or black or colored in that school, who do you think you're going to play more with? Let's be honest. You're
No,
going to play with the
definitely.
white kids.
No, definitely.
You're going to, because that's just how it is, unfortunately. Is it right? No, it's not right.
Yes.
To survive, do you have to do that? Yes, you probably have to do that to survive, because you're probably not going to survive. I know. My nephew went to Cares. In fact, he was in the same class as Quinny, right? But my nephew is stubborn. He went through heavy discrimination in Cares because he just did not want to conform.
Right.
So principally in him, he did not
Yes.
believe it's the right thing. But his parents had to take him out of the school because he was so unhappy there. You just couldn't take it anymore. He had to be taken out of that school. To survive, unfortunately, sometimes you have to do things that, yes, may not be unethical, but you're going to have to hang around with people that you probably wouldn't have hung around with in any case, in the first place. And that is and this is where racial discrimination forces some people to do. Because our system, and the system, the top, and I actually want to speak a little bit on stats.
Yeah.
Our system is messed up, even from a sponsor's level.
Yes.
Let me explain.
Right.
CSA sponsors,
Yeah.
the main headline sponsors, Castori is the first one in terms of the kit. Which company is that? It's a UK company.
Right.
Betway is a sponsor. Betway, not a South African company. Castle Lager and Powerade is a sponsor. Who sponsors it? Yeah, who's the owners? SAB, who owns SAB? AB and Dev.
Okay.
In Bev, right? Vumatel is a sponsor. Who sponsors Vumatel? Remgro. Who owns Remgro? Johan Rupert.
Sure.
This is CSA. Is there any black
Nothing.
sponsors?
Nothing.
Okay, that's CSA. Let's go to, and then the headline sponsors is Momentum. Who owns Momentum? RMB. Who owns RMB?
Yes.
Remgro. Who owns Remgro?
Rupert.
Yes.
KFC. Number one. It's not a South African company,
Yeah.
but it's in here. Who owns KFC? Yum Brands. Who owns Yum Brands? Hey? David Gibbs is the owner of Yum Brands. Black? No. Let's go. SA Rugby. Okay. MTN, main sponsor there. Great. PIC owns 27% of MTN. Great. There at least You've got Old Mutual that's there as well. So a little bit transformed, and that's what I was speaking about early on.
Okay.
I think rugby is getting there.
You said PAC.
PIC,
PIC.
Public Investment Corporation.
Who pays
Not
the most?
PAC.
Who pays the most taxes?
Correct.
Right.
Just
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Accenture, Accenture is not a South African company. There's a sponsor. Outsurance, who owns Outsurance? RMB. Who owns RMB? Remgro.
Yeah.
Who owns Remgro? The problem is, we can go all over, guys. It's on and on and on. Let's look at golf in South Africa. Who sponsors South African golf? Franz Hoekseller, Diners Club International, Courier It Bay Union Financial. Who is the chairman of the Sunshine Tour? Johan Rupert. Guys, the problem of racial discrimination in our sport in this country is deeper than just somebody not choosing a black person when they need to choose the black person. It goes deeper in terms of club level football.
Yes.
You don't even have black people that wants to put up their hands and says, I want to sponsor. And therefore, my father always used to tell me that he who has the gold makes the rules.
Yes.
Who do you think is making the rules here, guys?
Look, Clint, that I can agree with you 100% when it comes to the sponsoring. Let's go to grassroots football.
Can I add?
Yeah. Okay,
just a
just
span
add.
of work
Okay,
with
then I'll
Quinton
come.
de Kock's
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
You had friends and people testifying that, or saying reports that, no, this guy isn't a racist or whatever.
Yeah.
You have that. You don't have anyone that's speaking against him that knows him.
Right.
Right? And then the other thing is, when it comes to the symbolism of kneeling, Quinton de Kock would show the sign for the rhinos, just as a symbolism.
Yes.
But he didn't want to show the sign for against racism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just throwing a span
No,
in the works.
100%. 100%. We have to look at it both ways, Coming back to the sponsorship, and that your dad said, the one that owns the gold, he
Makes the rules.
makes the rules. Now, when you look, you can complain all you want to, Joe. We've got the Premier Soccer League, we've got the Glad African, then we've got the ABC Motsepe, then we've got the SAB League, right? So those are the tiers in South African football. If you look at SAB, you look at from ABC Motsepe, that's amateur, right? And then professional would be now your Glad African. You look at those two leagues, the people that owns those clubs are black people. It's black businessmen that owns those clubs. And then you have, now this is just from another perspective. You can say all you want. You can say brown lighties are not getting the opportunity to play and what. But what about me growing up in Tembisa? I'm a businessman now. I'm making enough money. To sow back into the community, I go and I register a football club. And I, from my business, sponsor that football club in Tembisa. I'm not going to look outside to Riverlee. I don't even know where Riverlee is. I'm living in Tembisa. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my first choice is going to be the boys from my community. And that's where I'm going to sponsor. The problem is, you've got brown guys, colored guys, businessmen that don't care two hoots about giving back to the community. And now you want to blame these guys that are uplifting their community, putting their players first and their community's boys first. But here you've got on the other side, you've got Riverlee, you've got Westbury, you've got Eldos, you've got wherever. But they're not putting their money where their mouth is. And then you want to complain and say, there's no one in Bafana that's a colored. But it starts here. Build your own teams. Businessmen sponsor the boys of the community.
Correct.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Buy a status in SAP, buy a status in ABC Motsepe, buy a status in NFD or Glad African. And that's the responsibility we need to put back. You can't just say it's racist. They're just seeing these guys. I'm saying, what do we do? What are we supposed to do to correct that? Where are we and where are we moving toward?
Correct. I mean, you're spot on there, Pastor Liz. And the responsibility is broader than just an institution.
Yes.
The responsibility has to be with us as South Africans,
Yeah.
especially if you're a businessman and you can afford it, do it. The exact same thing in cricket, the exact same thing in rugby. Who owns the clubs? It's
sure.
the white guys.
It's the white guys.
Right? Who puts in the money in terms of in the schools? It's the white businesses. The white businessmen. Guys, let's. I just want to say, yes, you know, the likes of Cares or whatever that charges 200,000 rand a year for school fees or whatever the case may be, may have the money to uplift their sporting facilities.
Yeah.
Right? But most of them still get sponsors from businesses.
True.
For the sporting facilities.
True.
So that they can use that money for other avenues. Our people don't want to invest. Look, we can go to Elders. Look at the states of our schools in Elders, guys. As you said, we can go to Rivoli. Look at the state of the schools there. Our people don't want to invest. And even the black people. Black people will invest in football. Because, guys, I've been to, I don't know how many grade one, valediction services that you, not services, valediction ceremonies that you've been to at school. The lighties stand up there. What do they want to do? They want to become a soccer player.
Yeah.
80% of a black lighty, that's their dream. They want to become a soccer player, right? Because that's what they see. You know what I mean? So guess what? The Oaks plant and push the soccer agenda. They will invest.
Yes.
You will get the local guys, the
Yes.
local businesses to invest in it because that's the dreams of the lighties. But our guys, but further than soccer, they don't.
Yes.
Any other sport, they don't, guys. There's swimming. There's athletics. Sasco is in a mess today. Athletics can't be funded. You know what I mean? And again, is there transformation in athletics? No. You know, in the swimming codes, no. In golf, no. Go bring up the golfing pages and check who's the Oaks there. It's all white guys there. You know why? Because the white people will invest in their people. And the black people will not because they will rather invest in soccer. Right? Gary Player, in his foundation, he sponsors more black lighties than any than black businesses do in golf, in the golfing fraternity.
Yeah, but then again, when it comes to tournaments, I had a lady that's playing on the Sunshine Tour, Cassidy. She's playing on the Sunshine Tour. No sponsors from businesses. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think what she said was there was a couple that opened a travel agency.
Exactly.
That sponsored the tour, the traveling or something.
And you know what, Joe? To get your name out there and to get your European card or whatever, your US card, your PGA card, you have to play a lot of tournaments. Some tournaments are 10 to 15,000 rand entrance fee.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Your white guys are getting sponsored for the tournament plus the kit and traveling and accommodation.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And that for me, how do we fix this thing? How do we fix it?
Also, you talk about all these
Look, our producer wants to say something. Come to this mic.
Sorry, I have to get in on this conversation also from a lady's perspective. But you're speaking about white sponsorship, Clint, and I hear you loudly. But you must also consider history, right? Because we're talking about South African history, and we see then, therefore, that white money is old money. So obviously they have more money to give. So these black businessmen that do invest in their players, that's still new money if you consider, if we're going to compare gold now and we're going to compare the amount of gold. More gold means more power. So they obviously have more power because of history. So are we saying that we need to level the playing fields economically first and foremost? Because if it's an economic situation, then let's level the playing fields economically. Let those white businesses then, if that's the solution, then they, based on affirmative action and triple BEE, do you ever hear of them investing, white businesses, from an affirmative action perspective, into black communities? I hear, okay, Gary Player maybe does a few of these things, but isn't that just for paper? Because that's also something you need to consider. Do these white businesses do these small little acts for black communities just because it looks good on paper? That's another thing that you need to consider.
100%. And I think, moving forward now, how do we fix this? Do we have some type of, I don't know what you call it, but do you have some type of a quota for businesses in terms of X amount of your sponsorship must go to black communities? Do you understand what I'm saying? In terms of sporting, you mentioned all those guys that's head of sports, that's sponsoring sports. Some type of quotas or some type of thing, like she says, economically must come in play, where we say, you as a company cannot sponsor CARES only or this. You're going to have to sponsor these schools and we give you a list. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or else, Joe, how are we going to level the playing fields? There's some responsibility from whites in the entire South Africa. You have got a responsibility because you had the upper hand all these years. And if you don't realize that, then I don't know where you are at. Your mindset must be, I have to fix what has been wronged. And that's where we are. A part of why racism can't go away is because white people cannot accept responsibility. That's just me.
They've never apologized.
Exactly.
But we also never asked them to apologize.
You see?
You know, the thing for me is that we can try to force white people to invest into our schools. They can give you your 50,000 rand, your 20,000 rand for the school to do that. But I don't just think it is only the financial part.
Yeah.
I think it's the caliber of training that you take with that money.
Yes, the expertise.
To uplift that thing. Who does the approaching? Are we approaching white businesses in a way to say that please sponsor my club? I am in this community that you'd never heard of, and give them a proposal of that and give them like a business plan of what is the way forward? Or do we say that, let's sell my boerewors rolls and stuff, and then you get this bright person that goes to that white person and say, this is my club, this is where we're going to. We are in this community, we can give you advertisement in this thing for your product and everything. Please sponsor us that way. I don't think that it is just blaming a white finance thing. I think it's also blaming our poor communities of not wanting to pick up the hand or say that, listen, here we are. But we want to sit like this and say, please give.
Yeah.
Please give. You need to know how to ask to receive also. There's a lot of black miners now in the mining industry. Yeah. There's a lot of farmers in the agriculture that is black. You don't hear of them. When you go and you're going to speak about miners, you will hear Motsepe and you will hear Rupert and those guys, Anglo, Platinum and whatever. But you don't see that small miner there that is still making 30 million rand a month to come forward and say that, listen, I come from this community, I will put money in here. Because it won't cost a lot to fix up a club in a smaller community.
No, 100%. Guys, this topic is hot. And we're going to sometime again delve further into this, but our time has run out. Can you believe it?
Sure, that was quick.
Our time has run out. Some closing remarks from you, Clint. Closing remarks.
Guys, I think there's still a hell of a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And it takes all of us to do it and to get it right. And it's a conscious decision that you have to make to get it right, to fix the wrongs of the past.
100%. Jay?
I think my closing remarks, we haven't even gotten to the comments the way.
Oh, my word. Just go through that quickly.
Let me just go through a few. So shout out to Caleb Brownlee. His first statement was, we are set up for failure in all levels, starting from grassroots. And then he goes on to say, we can't ignore the history.
Yeah.
History is a good teacher to show why racial prejudice is wrong, not only in sport, but in all aspects of life. We have shout-outs from Elgin Miller, shout-outs from Sheldon Banks, and just a bunch of comments as well.
Wow.
That we had to get to. But like you said, we need a part 2.
Yeah, we need a part 2. Joe?
Caleb Brownie, go to the doctor and come and join us in the call. I want to say that if we are not going to stick together as a country, then the politicians is never going to listen to us to fix their mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Racism in sport is still a governmental thing that you've never done enough to get rid of it.
Right.
You've never changed structures to get rid of it. So we should change the government.
Yeah. Well, good one, Joe. Guys, this has been awesome. I want to thank my co-host Jay for always being here. Thank you so much for your input and insights. Then I want to thank Clint and Joseph. Man, guys, this was just awesome.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
And I think we're gonna have to have a part 2 on this, so
please.
that we can discuss it and get more structured stuff that we want to speak about and just concentrate, because this is so wide. You know what I'm saying, that we can go on for months discussing this thing. But thank you so much for watching. Man, it was awesome. Please share this link and subscribe to this channel. We're going to have some awesome discussions coming up this month. It will be a month of sport, so we'll have different guys coming in and so forth. We might just have Joseph and Clint on another show this month. Thank you so much. God bless you and have a good weekend.